Welcome back, everyone, to episode 4 now with the fantasy variation. I'm Tommy, joined always by Colin. Colin, how are you doing on this fine Wednesday night once again?
I'm all right. We're 2-0 in the league, which is always a good sign. But I'm a little upset. My quarterback Jordan Love, I took him in the 12th round, and I don't think he's going to play again this week. So it's kind of frustrating, having a guy that you drafted, that's going to miss some time. So other than that, I'm pretty good. How about you?
Yeah, I don't know how I could relate to that at all. I don't think I've had any injuries to go over this episode. I'm really just glad week 2 of football is over. It was really, really rough one for me besides picking up a fantasy win. Obviously, I had a plethora of injuries pile up on my team here in the Shovel Mitch League. Lions lost a game where the Buccaneers seemed like they were trying to hand it to them. I'm kind of just ready to move on to week 3 and see what we can do, both for the Lions' sake and my fantasy team.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Colts need a comeback week this week too. So we'll see what we can get.
Yeah, I forgot that too. Also, the bets didn't hit either. So
Yeah,
it
we
was a
don't have to talk
long week
about
of
that.
football this weekend.
It's tough. Hey, week 3 though, we move on.
Yeah, I will say though, we were talking about me putting one of my $25 free bets on a 4-legger that we picked last week. I did not. So,
That's good. That's
so I at
good.
least saved that $25. I might have put it somewhere else where we lost it anyways, but oh well. At least it wasn't on.
Anything, yeah. Anything was better than those 4. That's all right though. We got 4 picks this week that are going to be good. So no need
Yeah,
to
we
worry.
definitely didn't say that last week and have terrible luck. So yeah, we got 4 picks ready for you at the end of this episode.
There we go.
All right. Well, I guess for recapping our games, you want to take over first? You want me to go?
Yeah, I can start, I guess. Pretty happy with my week this week. I guess starting with QB Jaden Daniels, think set a record for like 27 drives that he got into the red zone and could not score a touchdown. I'm kidding, it wasn't 27, but he got his team in the red zone a bunch. They obviously kicked like 7 field goals. But I think that's going to change. So love where he's at. Brees Hall doing his thing. Drake London and Marvin Harrison are both back. Huge weeks out of them, which I was really happy about. 2 guys I'm worried about. A little worried about Tank Dell. We'll talk about him later. I don't know. I'm not crazy worried, but Nico Collins is definitely the guy there. But CJ will throw it around to him, and then Jerome Ford. He was super efficient. Way better than down to Foreman, and Foreman had double the amount of carries. Don't know why. It doesn't make sense. I'm not too worried about that, I guess, but kind of disappointing. George Kittle was back. Love that. Him and Ayuk are the only solid options now with Debo missing time and McCaffrey out. But overall, pretty good. I had Monty and Williams on the bench, which was a mistake, at least on Monty. But both those guys went off. So pretty happy. 2-0. Can't complain. Handed Dean the loss on his birthday week. So sorry about that, Dean. I will say, shout out to Dean. He picked up Quentin Johnson. I think it was like 25. He spent 25 points on him. I had him for I think like 18 or 20 maybe. I wanted him, but Dean took him. So
All right, I got 2 points to go off there. I didn't want to interrupt you, but Juwan Johnson disrespect will not be tolerated around here. That man's going off this week in my lineup. Sadly, we are starting him, but he's going off this week.
fair.
Shoot, what was the other point I was going to make? Oh, I guess yeah. I'm surprised you ended up winning this one. It looked a little grim on Thursday night with James Cook getting 3 touchdowns in the first half. But yeah, it looks like Dean's team kind of stalled out a little bit. You took home the win. Looks like 129 to 103-ish. So nice, solid win there. Didn't really have to sweat that one out at all.
Yeah, I was definitely a little worried. Even on Sunday, like halfway through, like even maybe the 4 o'clock games. I forget when I checked, but I was definitely projected to lose for a little while. So, team got the dub. Don't plan on losing this year. Undefeated season coming up.
Sounds like a good plan. Oh, and you had Waddle too. Yeah, he
I didn't
underperformed
even talk
on
about
Thursday too. So yeah, you want to talk about Waddle?
meant to talk about him. Yeah, he's not going to be touching my lineup for a little while. I don't think, unfortunately. One guy that I was super high on, loved him, and yeah, with Tua done, 2 out for a while, it's not going to be good for him. So kind of disappointing, but we have a little bit of depth, so hopefully Jameson Williams can fill his shoes and Goff keeps on throwing them.
Oh, Jamison Williams will fill those shoes, my friend. Don't you worry.
There we go.
All right. I guess moving over to my team then. I probably won't spend too much time on my matchup. I won 136 to about 79 against Barrett. So tough effort there for my opponent. We definitely did not have to sweat that one out. Probably not much more to say. Similar to week one, a lot of my guys just putting up like somewhere in the teens, just what they're projected, just getting the job done, showing up, punching their hours, and getting out of there. Unfortunately, I had to already start Chase Brown, which I thought was bad for having to start someone like that this early in the year. He only got 3. He's barely been touching the ball. Zach Moss seems to be taking over that backfield. So not great to see for someone who owns Chase Brown in this league. But more of what I want to talk about with my team is just kind of the state with all the injuries. So everyone in our league already knows, but for anyone who doesn't, I guess my first 5 picks now are all hurt. It looks like Jefferson will play. So at least we'll have him. But Pacheco in the second round, he fractured his fibula, tibia, something like that. So he's out for 6 to 8 weeks, it looks like. Kenneth Walker's still dealing with an oblique injury. It seems like they're playing it safe with him. So I don't think he's going to play this weekend still, which kind of sucks because I'm playing Riley, who has Charbonnet as well. So kind of a double punch there. Cooper Kupp, obviously my darling pick in the 4th round, now out. It looks like he'll avoid IR though. So hopefully only 2 or 3 weeks of him being out, we could really use him back. That's for sure. And then I literally said on Tuesday morning, everyone was already talking about how many injuries I had. And I'm like, you already know Debo's getting hurt at some point this year. And then not even the end of the day. And I get a notification that he's going to be out for a few weeks with a calf strain, it looked like. So yeah, not ideal there. The starting lineup's looking really rough this year. That's probably what I'm going to throw up on the screen is what my starting lineup looks like this week. I only probably had to pay 11 fab, I guess, to get Carson Steele. It didn't seem like anyone wanted him. He was my favorite waiver pickup. I think he'll just get the first crack at being starting running back on the Kansas City Chiefs, which is why I took Isaiah Pacheco, which is why I tried to pick him up. I don't know how much upside he'll really have, but I figured I didn't really have a choice because my running backs are so bad right now. My RB3 at the beginning of the year was Raheem Mostert, who's dealing with a chest injury too. So we don't even have him. We're just dealing with scraps. Now we got Dante Foreman, actually, someone you brought up at the beginning of this episode, starting for me at RB2 as well. He out-touched Jerome Ford last week, so maybe he can get something going against the Giants. I don't know. And then we have usual starters. Hopefully Jefferson's playing, Trey McBride, Rashee Rice, Kyler Murray. But then 2 receivers I'm hoping to plug in and 2 guys that I'm really high on this week. I don't have them on my love-hate because they're just so low on the rankings. Like, probably no one's starting him in a 10-man league besides me. But I think I said Juwan Johnson at the beginning. Sorry, I disrespected him there. Juwan Jennings, sorry, of the 49ers.
Yeah, you told me not to disrespect him, and then disrespected him.
And then I immediately disrespected him. Sorry about that, Juwan. We really need a big week from you. Sorry about Coach just speaking bad about you in the presser now. But I really like him this week against the Rams. It seems like he's already actually producing a little bit this year. It's not like he's getting no targets with Samuel and Ayuk and Kittle all on the field. He's already producing a little bit. So I'm hoping with Debo out, he'll see kind of more of that full wide receiver 2 role. And then Tutu Atwell as well, also playing in that game just for the other team. I'm really worried about the Rams offense in general, but we saw Tutu produce last year when Cooper Kupp was out. So I feel like he's probably a leading candidate to kind of take over that high volume role in a Sean McVay offense. So that one might be, a little bit of a bold prediction there for him because there's so many receivers in that room and that offense is not great, but he's the guy I'm putting my faith in. And it's not like I really have a whole lot of other options. So that's what we're rolling with this week against Riley. I'm sure we're going to be a very big underdog, but we'll see if we can get it done.
Yeah. I'm looking at your team. You surprisingly have a decent roster for as many injuries as you talked about. I mean, Kyler's looked good. Hopefully Jefferson can play. McBride looks great. Rashee Rice, you got him really late. I don't know how to feel about Carson Steele. I mean, I think it could be a 3-headed monster back there. I don't really know what the heck they're gonna do. So yeah, that's definitely a wild card. But yeah, for as beat up as your team is, it's not too bad. I hope Deontay Foreman does absolutely nothing for you. No disrespect, but we need Jerome Ford. So good luck to you. Hey, you're 2-0. This is a good place to be with all these injuries. So
Yep, that's true. I don't really have to go through and sell too crazily. I've tried to talk a little bit of trade, but I don't think I've seen anything that worth moving yet. So we're holding it down. See if we can, through like 8 to 10 weeks, if I can stay just like somewhere around 500, I feel like that's fine. If I can get all these injuries back and they keep playing like they were before, then I feel like I'm in a good spot. So we'll see how it goes, though.
Absolutely. Very good. Well, I guess if you're good, we can start moving into our love hates of the week.
Let's do it.
Awesome. Well, I guess I can kind of start us off. I'll recap last week. I know we're not keeping track of this. All three of my loves went all three loves last week. And they all did phenomenal. Stevenson balled out, Chris Godwin balled out, Malik Neighbors balled out. So pretty happy about that. I only bet on Chris Godwin. Should have bet on all of them. I was high on him, didn't do it, but it's all right. We move on. But my first pick is David Montgomery, a guy that I will be starting in our league actually. On ESPN's love hate list, he was 27th. I thought that was incredibly low. Arizona had a horrible run defense last year. And I kind of just expect the Lions to put up a lot of points in this game. Same with the Cardinals. Be a high scoring game. He'll get his touches and hopefully get in the end zone. Which will definitely secure a better spot than number 27. So first one, love David Montgomery.
Yeah, I like that pick. I feel like we talk about it all the time. Like Lions games being more high scoring, like you kind of want to get people attached to those games. And I feel like this game especially, I mean, I doubt any non-Lions or Buccaneers fans were watching the Lions-Buccaneers game specifically. But that game was super frustrating. We threw the ball 55 times in a neutral game script. So I feel like we are going to be pounding the ball this week after a disappointing loss. So I really like David Montgomery this week, and I really like Jahmyr Gibbs as well. So I like that pick.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that 50, would you say 55, 57? That was ridiculous by Goff. I don't know. I don't understand it. But feed Monty, baby.
Yep. I think this is going to be the week where we're handing it off a ton. And that should hopefully open up like play action, pass and stuff too, which could be big for Jameson Williams, your guy. So we'll see if both of them can maybe have a big week this week. I'll be happy to see that.
Yes,
and I appreciate you trying to gloss over my love hates last week. I was going to just say no comment when you passed it over to me, but I'll go ahead and comment on him a little bit. DK Metcalf, of course, wide receiver 2 on the week that I hated. He caught a bomb, so that really inflated his stats. But even without it, he still was going to hit like 13, 14 points. So solid start out of him. DJ Moore and Najee Harris both finished like just around where they were projected or a little bit below. Moore was the wide receiver 30, and I think he was at like 25 or so when I said I loved him. And Najee Harris was RB 31. I think he was like just above that, and I said I loved him. So those didn't really hit, but they didn't, I guess, necessarily sink your team. But this week we got some better bets coming up for the love-hate list. And I know that's true because I'll be starting with the poster boy for my hating. I hate Michael Pittman this week against the Bears. He is ranked number 22 on ESPN's wide receiver rankings. And I guess just aside from the fact that we're still yet to see him really produce this year, despite being drafted really highly, I'm really just worried for the future about the Colts wide receivers in like short depth areas. Like we've never seen Michael Pittman be a guy that goes down and gets the ball downfield, despite him kind of being like a bigger wide receiver, which is kind of weird, I guess. But the way Richardson plays, I feel like it's just like, let's run the ball or chuck it 60 yards downfield, which is why we've seen Alec Pierce have so much success already this season. I feel like they're just a much better pair for his play style, I guess. And I'm not saying Alec Pierce is a better wide receiver, but it's just kind of, I feel like the play style doesn't really fit with him as well as a lot of people would have thought at the beginning of the year. And then also just a couple other things is Josh Downs, I think, should be back this week. So I expect him to take away a lot of slot snaps, a lot of short yardage snaps, or short yardage targets, excuse me. And then the Chicago Bears defense is just good. So
I was going to say their secondary is like top 5, I want to say.
Yeah, I was like, he's going to see a lot of Jalen Johnson, who's a very good corner. And their defense just held the Texans to 19 points. So they're a very good defense that I wouldn't necessarily – I feel like a couple years ago, I mean, they'd be a defense you'd want to target with your offensive players in fantasy, but now I feel like they're more of an avoid than anything these days.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. And to add on, I mean, AD Mitchell, another guy that might be stealing targets from him. Yeah, it pains me to say this, but I agree with your take there. So, and
Yeah.
I didn't mean to pass over yours. I figured you'd talk about your love hates from last week. So my apologies there.
No, I appreciated you skipping over it. Like I said, I didn't really want to talk about it, but I figured I owed it to everyone to own up to my mistakes.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. Well, I guess my next one, a guy that I loved last week, I'm gonna love again, Chris Godwin. He's 14th. I don't know. So far this season, he might even be the number one wide receiver. I don't know.
He is.
But is he? He's in the slot a lot, and yeah, the Bucks play the Broncos. And Surtain, is that how you pronounce it? Patrick Surtain. He'll be on Mike Evans the whole time. He won't be guarding Godwin in the slot. So I think Godwin continues to get fed, put up big numbers, and yeah, 14 is just too low. I'm hoping for a top 5 week out of Chris Godwin.
Yep. I like that pick too. I didn't really think about the whole Pat Surtain thing. I think that's a really good thought that he's probably going to be on Mike Evans a lot of the time on the outside, and then that should free up a lot of stuff for Godwin over the middle. And that seemed to be kind of what happened against Detroit. I mean, our best corner, I guess, is Carlton Davis. I mean, we don't really have like a ton of them, but I mean, Chris Godwin was just getting open like crazy, getting the second options at cornerback. So I could definitely see that happening again against a defense that is obviously not super good outside of PS2.
Definitely.
All right. Well, for my next one, I've got a love at the wide receiver position as well. You're gonna have to stick with me here for this one because this guy has sucked this year. I really like Deontay Johnson this week against the Raiders. This Panthers offense just has not been able to move the ball with Bryce Young. And I know all the pieces around him still suck. I'm not saying Bryce Young can't be anything in the NFL, but it's hard for a young QB to operate in this Panthers offense. So I really feel like the injection of Andy Dalton, albeit he's not a great quarterback and he's also old at this point. But I really feel like he'll at least be able to get them to move the ball downfield and at least find his short yardage targets. The offensive coordinator also at the beginning of the season or end of the off season was saying they really want to feed Deontay Johnson the ball. He's going to be the guy. And I feel like I wouldn't say he's we can even tell if he's lying yet because we just haven't even seen this offense be able to move the ball at all. So I really feel like if there's a week where Deontay Johnson is going to pop off, it's going to be this week. I think the Raiders should be a pretty decent matchup for wide receivers. I know they're not a huge pushover defense like they were a couple years ago, but I don't think they're one that you should avoid for any reason. And then also he's still just playing a ton of the snaps. I wrote down that he played 94% of the snaps last week. So it's not like he's not seeing the field or not good enough to see the field. It's just that this offense can't move the ball. And I expect Andy Dalton to at least increase their scoring a little bit, or at least be able to get Deontay Johnson his fair share of targets and receptions like he used to do every week in Pittsburgh when their offense was bad.
Absolutely. Yeah. Do you know where'd you say he was on the hate list?
I forgot to say that. He's at 32.
Oh man, yeah, that is low. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I've seen just from looking over Twitter stuff, I've seen a lot of good things out of or people anticipate a lot of good things out of Dalton and Johnson. I wouldn't be surprised if Dalton throws for 250, 300 yards. I mean, that's definitely a stretch. But I don't know. The Raiders offense has looked really good. I feel like they're going to be throwing the ball a lot. I mean, like you said, the Panthers suck. But the whole Bryce Young situation is very interesting to me. Someone was saying he didn't play any preseason games, or he played the last drive of one of the preseason games, and they were talking about guys like CJ Stroud, Derek Carr, Baker Mayfield, guys who are doing really well, played multiple preseason games, and it's you got to do that. Also Bryce Young, it's he's still in his second year. This guy was really freaking good at Bama. He's not bad. I don't know. I blame the coaching staff, the general manager. I don't know what, but that's a nightmare there. Anyways, I like the pick.
Yeah,
go Deontay Johnson.
I agree with you though on Bryce Young. I don't think obviously he shouldn't have gone number one overall. Obviously, CJ Stroud, looking back on it now, was obviously the no-brainer prospect to go with. But I mean, you see guys like Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold playing great football right now, and they were
Right,
horrible on the Panthers. So
right.
could be a schematic thing and just a lack of talent thing over there that is really never going to be solved until he's gone, most likely.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I guess wrapping up my last one, we're going with another love. We're sticking with it. Three loves this week. We're gonna go to George Pickens. He's the 28th wide receiver. I think, I mean, Justin Fields had a few bombs to him that got called back due to penalties and stuff. I don't know. I feel like Fields is gonna unleash it this week. That kind of kept him like, I don't know how to describe it. I mean, their offense is just so bad right now. They're not really putting up a ton of numbers. I mean, they don't need to. Their defense is probably the best in the league, in my opinion. But I don't know. 28th is way too low for me. And I think it's time to get him going. Like they said, they want to get him going. He's a great wide receiver. And I'm always high on my boy Justin Fields. So let's go George Pickens. Love him at 28.
Yeah, I like that pick. It might just be because I heard some Steelers propaganda when I was listening to the last Nerd Sesh wrap up or whatever. One of the guys on there is a big Steelers fan, and he said Pickens has been missing like a couple of big plays. I forget if it was flags calling him back or like Fields just missing him on open plays
Yeah.
downfield. But
Mhm.
like his expected points should probably be a lot higher than what he's actually
Definitely.
produced so far. So I really like that one after what I've heard. I don't know if it's true, but this guy definitely watches every game multiple times. So I think he's probably
Absolutely.
got a better idea about it than me. So
Absolutely. Yeah, and 28, I just feel like that's way too low too. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see if he can get like a top 15 maybe. Who
yeah,
knows?
I can see it. All right. Oh, I guess, yeah, I still have one love left, and it's at the running back position. I love Brian Robinson this week at Cincinnati. He is ranked at, I believe, 22 this week for running backs. The main reason I like him this week, I guess, and as my father-in-law Scott said, as an avid Bengals fan, they can't stop anyone from running the ball,
That's true.
which I saw the past couple weeks. Stevenson absolutely feasted on them. And then Pacheco had a pretty solid day. He didn't feast, I guess, like Stevenson, but good day until he got hurt inevitably. Rest in peace once again. But yeah, aside from the fact that the Bengals can't stop the run, Brian Robinson has really just been dominating snaps in a way that I didn't think I imagined at the beginning of the year with Austin Eckler. I thought he would be the main back on early downs, but I think he's just seen a lot of receiving work too, a lot more than I thought. He had, I don't have it written down or pulled up, but I think he had like 3 or 4 targets the first game and then at least 1 or 2 the second game. So he's at least getting involved in the receiving game in a way that I mean, I thought he wouldn't get really any targets. He'd be lucky to get 1 a game. So seeing that type of receiving work and playing a team that I think just can't really defend the run, for a guy that's been running the ball really well so far this year, I really like Brian Robinson at 22 to beat that ranking.
I love it. Yeah, Brian Robinson was a guy that I didn't really have on my radar during drafts. That like you said, I mean, he's kind of been surprising, and yeah, that Bengals D. I mean, what Ramondre Stevenson ran for like 130 yards or something crazy. I don't even know what it was, but I like the pick. We'll
Yeah.
see what he can do there.
The only thing I'm worried about is the Commanders falling behind a little bit and having to throw, but I'm hoping he just kind of keeps a little bit of a role on the passing downs. I really thought Eckler was going to get all the receptions out of this backfield, and it hasn't been the case. So I don't really see
Absolutely.
why that would change, since I don't think Austin Eckler's really been tearing it up so far this year.
Definitely. Yeah, and I mean, maybe they can get. I don't know. I'm speaking too soon. Maybe they can get in the end zone one time this week. Maybe it'll be Brian Robinson. We'll see.
Exactly.
I love it. I guess we'll kind of transition into our start sits. Do you want to talk first on our first one, Terry McLaurin versus Tank Dell?
Whoa, trying to skip over going over last week's? Not so fast.
Yeah. We'll talk about that. I would like to point out we are avoiding one of them. Zay Flowers against Keenan Allen. I had Zay Flowers who went off. Keenan Allen, if he played, he was going to score like 3 points. Telling you that right now, but we avoided it since Keenan Allen didn't start. So Yeah, that's about it, right?
Hey, I'll be the first one to say I got lucky there. Probably should have been 2-1 this week. Javonte Williams had 11 against Zamir White's 7. It really just was because of the receiving work Javonte Williams got. He was absolutely putrid on the ground. So was Zamir White, but he just didn't really catch as many balls as Javonte Williams did, which I think was one of my points. And none of them were lucky enough to get in the end zone to really make a difference.
Nope.
And then Dobbins crushed forward, kind of like you said earlier, though. Dante Foreman kind of came out of nowhere, and I think he got like 14 or 15 carries out of the backfield.
It was so dumb. I mean, Foreman had 14 carries for like 24 yards, and Jerome Ford had like 7 carries for like 60. It made zero sense to me. I don't know, but
well, we don't care. I hope it continues to go in that direction against the Giants this week, as we got Foreman starting for the squad this week. So yeah, last week I guess I technically went 2-0, probably 2-1 though in all likelihood, because that Bears offense looks like complete garbage. But yeah, I guess you want to go ahead and kick off our first one. Pick who you got between them.
Yeah, I'll start. So Terry McLaurin versus Tank Dell. I'm gonna go with Terry. I think we kind of mentioned it earlier. We think they might be down. Obviously you're hoping for Brian Robinson, but you mentioned they might be down in this game. I think the Bengals come out strong. They're at home. It's a night game. People in Cincinnati love going to those night games. They get real loud for it. So I anticipate Washington being down early. Again, hoping that Jaden Daniels can maybe get some balls into the end zone. But Terry hasn't been too good lately, or too good to start the season. I think this is a bounce back game for him. And then Tank has just been disappointing. Obviously a guy I still love. I've got him on probably more than half of my rosters. But they haven't gotten him involved too much. They gave him like 3 carries last game, I think, which is great and all, but he got like 1 catch. And Nico Collins is definitely the guy there. So I mean, this one's real close, but I'm gonna roll with Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, I'm taking the Tank Dell side of it against Minnesota. I'll preface it by saying I don't think I really like either of these guys this week, I guess, which probably means they're both blowing up. But I'm really just more concerned, I guess, about Terry McLaurin being on the Commanders. I'm really just worried about their passing attack. Like you said, they didn't score any touchdowns last week against the Giants, which is kind of a red flag there. That's a team you probably should be scoring on. Even if they go down, I just don't know. They haven't really been involving him at all, and they've really just been trying to move the ball through the running backs and through Jaden Daniels. Hence why I like Brian Robinson so much this week. As for Tank, yeah, I mean, he just doesn't stay on the field for all the snaps, which I think is his problem. Like, he just comes off in 2 wide receiver sets, which I think we probably knew was going to be the case. But I thought like you, I really liked him this year. I don't think I really got him in a lot of places. But I thought his chemistry with Stroud would just kind of overshadow everything else, and he would be so efficient that it didn't matter if he only played like 60-70% of the snaps. But it seems like it is hurting him a little bit that's happening. But I still think I just like this matchup better. I could see this game being pretty high scoring between the Vikings and the Texans. Obviously, we know how good the Texans offense is. The Vikings have been super impressive so far this year. So we'll see if they can move the ball against the Texans and make them have to kind of air it out as well. So that's why I'm going with Tank, but I don't think I really like either these guys this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely tough. I guess with Terry too. I mean, Jaden Daniels is still a rookie quarterback. He's playing his 3rd game. I mean, he was really, really good at LSU. Obviously, I mean, he got drafted so early, but I think it's time for him. I don't know. I think they're gonna air it out. So we'll see. Get rid of those first 2 games. And now the passing's back. So we shall see.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess for the second one, we got Jerome Ford versus Zach Moss. Who do you like here?
This game, I'm taking Zach Moss, and he was actually a guy that I was definitely going to be putting on my love-hate list until we decided to throw him on the start sits. I was like, I don't need to talk about him twice or whatever. But I really like him this week going up against Washington. They have a really bad run defense. I didn't even realize, because I don't own any Devin Singletary, and I didn't watch a single second of that Commanders-Giants game, but he destroyed them on the ground. Like, something that Devin Singletary should not be doing to an NFL team occurred. So I think Zach Moss is probably just as good as him, if not better. I'm not a huge Devin Singletary guy. And he's also just on a team that's we expect to be scoring the ball. I know they've been a little bit slow out of the gate. They looked a lot better against the Chiefs. So we'll see if they can score the ball. And then not only that, I guess we talked about Chase Brown not really getting on the field a whole lot, and Zach Moss dominating all the touches. So with Chase Brown kind of being the side, I feel a lot more confident in Zach Moss being the guy on this team as opposed to Jerome Ford. We've been talking about Foreman this whole time. I'm concerned about Ford just not being the guy. So I'm going to take Moss just because he's on a better team, and I feel like he's got a more secure role throughout the game.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I see both these guys putting up pretty good fantasy weeks. I guess I'm going with Jerome Ford over Zach Moss. First point. So the Giants run D is horrible. Brian Robinson, guy you liked or talked about earlier this week, ran all over them last game. Aaron Jones, first week of the season, ran all over him. Jerome Ford, I mean, I expect the Browns to be feeding him. I don't know what that crap was with Foreman, like I said, but Jerome Ford's a good running back. He's super efficient, or has been super efficient. And I expect him to just run all over this defense, even if Foreman gets, 10 carries. Hopefully Ford's goes back up. He gets in the end zone. But I'm more leaning him over Moss because Moss has just been so inconsistent. I mean, I totally agree with you. I think the Bengals are going to score a lot of points, and put up numbers. But to me, Moss is a little bit riskier. So that's why I'm going with Jerome Ford.
All righty. Yeah, I guess that's a good point. Yeah, maybe if you're looking for a more locked in, like,
Safer
score, Jerome Ford's probably your guy. But yeah, if you need like either a big score, you're good going home with nothing, then Zach Moss is probably your guy.
Definitely. And I mean, I guess too, I always, if I ever come to a, real 50-50, I always go with the guy in the night game. So that would lean towards Moss. So we'll see.
Fair enough.
Awesome. Well, the last one, first time, we're going with tight ends on the love-hate list. We're going Dalton Kincaid versus Kyle Pitts. Who do you like?
I think I'm taking Kyle Pitts this week. It's probably not insanely likely, I guess, that you might be deciding between two tight ends with how bad they are this year, but we wanted to see kind of a little bit of a debate between tight ends. I like Kyle Pitts. First of all, he's playing the Chiefs, so I think they could have a decent game script. The Chiefs offense hasn't really been like as lights out as we've seen in years past, I guess, so far. But I feel like in any given game, they could really get out to a lead and then force the other team to throw, which could happen to the Falcons and kind of boost Pitts up a little bit with some extra targets. And then on the other side of the coin, I really just don't like Kincaid all that much this week. The game script could be a little scary for him if the Jaguars continue their landslide into complete shit. I don't even know what happened to them. I thought they were going to be pretty decent this year. They've just been off to a horrible start. And then I feel like it's just hard to trust any Bills pass catcher week to week. I mean, it's kind of just all over the place. This new offense ever since the middle of last year has just been to play through the run, and then with their room of just like a lot of decent wide receivers, like, one or two of them is probably going to have a decent day every week, but you just don't know who it is. So I'm afraid to bet on Kincaid when we just haven't really seen any production from him this year either. I know we haven't really seen a ton from Pitts either, I guess. He kind of got saved the first week by his touchdown, but I feel like if there's ever a week for him to have a big game, it's going to be this one against KC.
Yeah, definitely. I guess so I'm taking Kincaid on this one. To your point, the Bills, they just have so many like average guys, and like there's really no top guy, I would say, for Allen to throw to. I'm going back to the beginning of the year. I was super high on Dalton Kincaid. I loved him. I thought he would be Josh Allen's number one guy. And I still think that. I mean, he hasn't shown anything yet this year, but I think this is a breakout game for him. I think it's time for Allen to get him involved more, and I think they will try to get him involved more. Pitts, I mean, has been the same way. I expected him to be better with Kirk Cousins, but I mean, the Falcons do have better options to Pitts. I mean, Drake London's better, and then they dump it to Bijan a lot. So I think there's better options there. I mean, this one's really close. Like you said, the Chiefs will probably be beating the Falcons, and the Falcons should throw a lot. But I mean, Pitts hasn't done anything much like Kincaid. I've got to stick with my gut at the beginning of the season and go with Kincaid there.
Yep. I think this could be a similar thing to what we just talked about with Moss and Ford. Like Kincaid, is not going to give you like literally nothing, but Kyle Pitts could definitely give you nothing. But I could also see him having like a huge day where Kincaid, I feel like I just don't really see that in a game where they're not playing like a powerhouse team, I guess. Like I could see him just trying to run the ball for 60 minutes straight against the Jaguars.
Absolutely. We shall see. I look forward to going 3-0 this week after the 0-2 week.
I don't think I'm going to. Oh, I thought you were talking about our records for a quick second. I was like, yeah, I'm not confident about my actual fantasy team. No, I think I'm ready to go 3-0 as well. So we'll see who gets it done this week.
We'll see. Oh man. All right. So I guess next is the time for trivia.
Let's do it.
All right. Let me get my notes here. So we are going 2021 PPR wide receiver final rankings. So in a PPR standard format league, who were the top 10 2021 wide receivers?
2021. All right. I'm trying to figure out, I guess, the year first. That was like, I think, was Jefferson top 10 that year as a rookie?
Justin Jefferson was number 4.
Holy crap.
Yes,
did you say points per game or total? I don't know if it matters, but
PPR. So what I did was I looked by average, but took out any guys who missed more than like 4 games, I think. So, or no, maybe I did go total points. I forget which one, but if they missed more than like 3 or 4 games, they're not on the list. So they had to have played pretty much the whole season.
Okay. Let me go Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill is number 6.
Wow, that's kind of lower than I thought. Was that his last Chiefs year, maybe?
Yes, it was. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Man, I feel like this wasn't even that long ago, and I'm already like,
I know it's tough.
Flowing into my head, and they're like not as quick as I thought. DeAndre Hopkins on here.
DeAndre Hopkins is not on here.
Man, I thought names would be like the line in my head from all. Oh, Cooper Kupp's got to be on there, right? Number 1.
Cooper Kupp is number 1.
Yeah, that was the big year, wasn't it?
Yep.
Okay. Amon-Ra wasn't around yet. Well, he was around, I guess, but not really producing.
Nope.
Jamar Chase wasn't drafted yet.
Yes, he was.
Was that his first year?
JJ and Jamar Chase were in the same draft class, weren't they?
Oh, sorry, I had it mixed up. Chase was 21 and Jefferson was 20.
Were they different draft classes?
Yeah, is Chase on there? He had that like 55-point game. Is he on there?
Yeah. So this was Jefferson's second year then.
Yeah.
Jamar's first. Yep. So Jamar was number 5.
Okay, I was like, I think he was on there actually, and that makes more sense why Jefferson was 4. I was like, I don't remember it being number 4 as a rookie. Like that's completely insane. CeeDee Lamb wasn't that good yet, was he?
CeeDee Lamb is not on this list.
That's what I thought. Man, did Jalen Waddle get on there with his crazy year for his rookie year?
Waddle did not get on here.
He had to have been pretty close, but I didn't think he made it quite there. Now I'm trying to think like older guys that would have been around. Amari Cooper on there?
Nope. Good guess though.
Man.
All these guys are in the league. So
Devontae Adams. That was
Devontae Adams, number 2.
Yeah, I was like, that one should have been gotten off the rip. Yeah, it's so much harder, I feel like, than I would think. Like I come up with names from just like a few years ago.
I can give you a hint that's not the direct team if you want.
Okay, I'll take one. How many do I have, I guess?
So you have 5 left. You have you have 5 of the top 6. So you're missing number 3, 7, 8, 9, 10. The hint is there's a pair of teammates on here.
I haven't gotten either of them.
Nope.
Man. Teammates. What? I mean, I don't. Was that Julio and Calvin Ridley? I think that's the year before. Yeah, I thought that was 2020.
You'll probably kick yourself when you figure it out.
Sure I will. Man, I'm trying to think of Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
There you go.
Nice.
Yes, sir. Godwin number 7, Evans number 10.
Yeah, I should have thought of them quicker. I don't know. I feel like with Mike Evans being so consistent, he's probably been top 10 like every year.
Yep. Yeah. Then these last 3, I think you can get 2 of them. One of them will be tough.
Okay. I've just been trying to like cycle through a handful of teams in my head and see if like anyone is ringing a bell. I'm sure the Chiefs don't have anyone because I already got Tyreek.
Yep.
Man. I guess is Stephon Diggs on there?
Yeah, I was gonna give a hint about him. Number 9.
Was that a year he was on the Bills? Was he there yet? I think so.
He's on the Bills. I was gonna say my hint was gonna be this guy's on a different team now.
Okay.
Yeah, so 2 left. Honestly, they're both somewhat tough. One of them you're probably not gonna get, and then the other one, I don't know. We'll see. The number 3 you should get.
Okay. Can I just get like conference, I guess, for each, like to narrow it down a little bit?
Check.
Man, one of them switched teams, it seems like.
No, didn't switch teams. Okay, NFC West is number 3.
Oh, I just needed NFC. I didn't really need NFC West.
Sorry.
It's Debo. It's Debo. I had him that year.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Oh,
I had to make sure it was the West.
Gosh dang it.
Okay, so this last guy is AFC at the time.
AFC at the time, and now he's NFC. I mean, dude, I just gotta check. There's no way it's Jarvis Landry, right? He was washed by this point, right? On the Browns. Okay. I was like, we can't miss him twice.
You got the division correct.
Okay, AFC North. Man, I feel like I should be knowing who it is by now.
It's tough. I wouldn't have gotten this one.
I mean, it can't be Odell or Landry, so I'm already throwing out the Browns.
Correct. Yep.
The Ravens haven't had a receiver since I don't even know how long. Like, I can't imagine it's them or the Steelers.
It's one of them.
It's one of those 2 teams.
Yep.
Good thing it's not the Bengals, or I'd be getting bullied by at Dean Sangos in the comments again for forgetting a Bengals guy.
Someone in the group chat's screaming his name right now.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. Steelers then, probably. Oh, no. I was about to say Juju. It's not Juju, dude.
Yeah, not Juju.
I was about to rip Juju's shoot. I was like, no. No. And it can't be AB. Dude. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's Deontay. It's Deontay. Yeah, we've been talking about him already. Yeah, that is kind of a tricky one. Like, he's not like a receiver you would think of as being good, but he always produces.
I was gonna say I would have never guessed him in a million years in the top 10.
Yeah, I don't think if you wouldn't have like stopped me on the AFC North ever, like I don't think I was ever coming up with him. Like the other ones, I think if I was sitting here, I could get. But yeah, that one was tricky. I'm so mad about Debo though. I should have known that one because I had him. Like that year was the year where I was like, Debo, like everyone had Ayuk over Debo in his second year or whatever. I was like, no, you got to pick Debo. And then he went off. And I had him in like every league. God.
Oh, well, you did pretty well though there. That was,
I'm happy with that. I'm really just mad I missed that one because of it being me specifically.
Definitely. No, but good job. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up here and go to our best bets. We can kind of skip over our best bets from last week. Both went 0-2. The Colts sucked it up. Cooper Kupp was on pace, got hurt. Couldn't imagine having him on my fantasy team, but that's all right. um, what were your picks? Bevins didn't get in the end zone, and then what? Rams? It's
Yeah.
Rams, yeah.
Yeah, they were down 28-3 at halftime. Yeah, let's
Yeah,
let's get on to next week. That's enough. Let's
next
get on.
week. All right, we're back. We're back. All right. Well, I guess I'll start us off here. We're going with a teaser. We're teasing the Bengals down to -2.5, and then the 49ers also -2.5. Getting those key numbers of staying under the -3. I just don't see the Bengals losing to the Commanders. Although I'm high on a lot of their guys this week, I mean they're at home. They're gonna win by 3 points or more. Same with the Niners. The Rams, I don't know what's going on with them. I mean their Tutu Atwell isn't gonna get the job done in my opinion.
Whoa.
Not enough to win. They can stay close. Maybe it's a 31-28 game. 49ers win, but teasing them. We got -120 odds on it, so I'll take it. But yeah, need both those teams to win by 3.
Yeah, I could definitely see a 31-28 game in which Tutu Atwell has 11 receptions for 157 yards and 3 touchdowns. So
for sure, that's what I'm thinking. Yep.
I'll be ready for that one, and I'll be also ready for my game pick. I guess I'm trying my luck here with an over/under. I really don't like any of the spreads this week. I don't think. Which I saw you went with the teaser as well, so you must be kind of in the same boat. Though I feel like I liked a lot of them last week, and I was using my free bets, and I definitely did not hit more than 50% of them. Maybe I got to about 50, but I thought I liked a lot of the spreads and they didn't really pan out. But
it's
whatever.
Been
Next week, we're on to week 3. I'm going with the over 51.5 points in the Detroit Cardinals game. We already talked about it a little bit earlier. Yes, I know it's a very high point total. But like we said a little bit earlier, the Lions offense was just like, I almost didn't even recognize them last game with how much they were trying to throw the ball and not use play action at all. So I really expect them to get back on the right foot this week and really run their offense in the most optimal way like they seem to do every week last year, especially against a defense like the Cardinals. And I know they looked really good against the Rams, but I'm still not buying into the Cardinals defense as a whole. And don't forget, too, they looked really bad against the Bills in week 1. And then as for the Cardinals offense, I think they're going to go off as well because anyone who's watched the Lions since Aaron Glenn took over as defensive coordinator knows that they cannot defend running quarterbacks. And that was even evident last week against non-running quarterback Baker Mayfield, who ran all over us and had his career-long touchdown rush of 11 yards, which he said was very sad, but even more sad that we were the ones that gave it up. So I really like the over this week despite the high total in that game.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I like it. I got a lot of fantasy guys in that game, so I'll be rooting for it. Awesome. Well, I guess I'll go to my player prop here. We're going with my guy Anthony Richardson. Yeah, you can say I'm biased. I went with the Colts last week. I'm going with another Colts player this week. Let the haters hate, I guess. I don't know. Richardson last week he only had 4 carries. Still had 37 rushing yards. The week before he had 9 carries, 56 rushing yards. His total is at 40.5. That I got at -115 odds. Like we talked about, Bears have a really good secondary, which I think will cause cause the Colts in general to run a little bit more. But they've had a top 5 pass rush this year too. So I mean, I think that leads to Richardson getting out of the pocket a little bit more, and scrambling for some. I mean, he's had a bunch of long runs already this year. And I mean, he's 1-1 on the year for hitting this total, but I expect him to rush for maybe 50, 60 this week. So hopefully we can turn it around and turn this into a winning week.
Yeah. Wait, what'd you say the over under was?
40.5.
40.5. Okay. Yeah. He only came up 4 yards shy last week and he beat it by like 15 week 1. So
yeah.
Seems like a pretty good bet. And like you said, it's going to be tough to throw the ball. So yeah, expect to see probably a lot of Jonathan Taylor and a lot of Anthony Richardson on the ground. We'll see how successful they can be because, like we said, the Bears defense is really good, but they have a good secondary, so it's going to be tough to throw against them.
Definitely. All right, what you got to end us?
Yep, I will close us off here with a guy that's been up and down so far this year. I guess a lot of down. I guess I should have probably said the hype's been up and the pain around him has been very low. It's Mark Andrews this week getting 50 or more reception yards against Dallas. It's actually plus 160 on DraftKings, which I was kind of surprised to see. I know we really haven't seen the Mark Andrews of old yet this year. One thing to note, and that I feel like people are tending to forget the further we move away from it, is that he was in a car accident like right before the year happened. So his week 1 performance could have been a little fluky. He definitely turned it around a little bit last week. He did hit the 50-yard mark, and let me look up his stat line actually just to make sure I'm not lying here. Yeah, he had 4 catches for 51 yards, so still a pretty modest day, and he still hit that total. The main reason I'm in on him, though, is now the Ravens are 0-2, and I feel like their offense has looked really shitty, for lack of a better word, through the first 2 weeks. I know it has a lot to do with their offensive line, so maybe we could see them kind of lean away from the run a little bit more and kind of get it to their main receiver, Mark Andrews. I know they have Zay Flowers now, who they haven't had in years past, but Mark Andrews has been old reliable now for 5 years, and I feel like they'll probably try to get him a little more integrated. Now another week removed from the car injury, and now on a team that's 0-2 and trying to change things up to get the ball moving a little better.
Absolutely. No, I actually like that pick, and I think we talked about it maybe last week or the week before. Andrews had that horrible game 1, but he did run a lot of routes. He was on the field for a lot of snaps. I mean, likely went off, but I don't really expect that to continue. And like you said, I mean, yeah, he's their main guy. Get him involved. I'll be joining you on the plus odds there for 50 yards. So I like it.
Yeah, I kind of just, I don't know if I would have taken the bet if it was like minus 110, like I kind of would have thought, but I don't know. The jump from 40 to 50 yards in odds was insane. Like I think 40 was minus something, and then 50 was plus 160. I was like, I feel like that seems like a pretty steep price jump. I wanted to get in on that. So we'll see if it hits this week. Mark Andrews has kind of been burning me a little bit this year for the good stuff I was saying about him in episode 1, but hopefully he pulls through for me in week 3.
There we go. Well, I like it. Yeah, hopefully we'll be back next week. Both fantasy teams 3-0. And hopefully
let's pump the brakes there. Let's pump the brakes.
All right, we'll come with one team 3-0.
Yeah.
We'll see who it is.
Let's come back with 5-1. We all know I'm losing, and then we'll come back with 4 winners on the betting. I think that's a more realistic take we can have there.
There we go. Well, yeah. Well, I guess we'll come back next week, and we'll keep kind of the similar agenda here. But until then, we'll see you then.